I'm going to walk you through 4 different ways to test retirement travel that will allow you to actually learn something useful before retirement rolls around and the stakes get higher. I don't want you to fall into the trap I see so many retired couples get caught in, making big, expensive decisions based on a version of travel you've never actually lived. And you probably don't want that either. If you're planning a travel-rich retirement, chances are you've already thought about doing a test trip. And that's smart. But here's what most people don't realise until after they've done one. Most test trips these people take don't actually test anything. They're no more than vacations with slightly better intentions. People come home thinking, well, that was nice, or worse, maybe long-term travel isn't for us, when really they just chose the wrong style of test trip. This isn't about the perfect destination, it's about choosing the right entry point. We're Dean and Pauline, sharing what we learn as we travel towards our next stop, retirement. Before we get into the styles, let's reset what a test trip is really for. It isn't about ticking off attractions, cramming in experiences, or seeing how much you can squeeze into a short time. That's just a vacation, and nobody could keep up that pace for months on end in retirement. It's about testing your pace, your energy, your routines, and how travel feels once it stops becoming a novelty. Because retirement travel isn't one long vacation, it's just life somewhere else. And how you ease into that matters more than people expect. After you hear about these 4 trial run styles, let us know in the comments which one had you thinking, oh, that sounds like us. I'd love to know which style fits you right now and why it appeals to you. Okay, the first style is what we call slowish travel. This is often the first step for people who love travel but are completely over rushing around, ticking off guidebook recommendations. You're used to fast-paced vacations, you still want to explore, you just don't want to feel exhausted at the end of it. Slowish travel isn't about living like a local. There's no grocery shopping test, no pretending you're moving overseas. In slowish travel, the win isn't seeing the Eiffel Tower, the win's finding a favourite bakery where the staff start to recognise you by day 6. You're still travelling, just not sprinting. Instead of 6 or 7 places in 2 weeks, slow it down to 2 or 3. Instead of 10 cities in a month, you keep it to 4, maybe 5 at most. You still sightsee, you still explore, you just give yourself time to breathe. You revisit places at different times of day, you wander without an agenda, you go beyond the highlight reel. Here's the moment to watch for with slowish travel. At some point, you'll realise you're not checking the clock as often. You're not thinking about what's next. You're just there. If that feels good, slowish travel might already be your long-term style. If you start itching to move on, that's useful information too. This style answers the question, can I slow down without giving up the joy of exploring? Okay, the second style is the hybrid 2-week trip. Vacation first, local living second. This is the gentlest introduction to local style travel, and it's perfect if you're still working full time or easing out of the traditional vacations. Here's how it works. You take a 2-week trip to a single location, but you deliberately split it in 2. The first 3 to 5 days you do the tourist stuff. No guilt, no pretending you're living like a local on day 1. See the sights, do the walking tours, eat out more than you normally would. Then, and this is the important bit, you change gears. You stop moving, you stay in one place, you slow right down. You shop locally, cook a few meals maybe, and have quiet days with nothing planned. During the second week of your hybrid trip, I want you to test a boredom day, where you don't go more than 3 blocks from your apartment. No museum visits, no tours. You just maybe grab a book, find a park bench. If you feel guilty for not sightseeing, that may be the most important information you'll gather all year. What this style teaches you is contrast. You feel the difference between vacation mode and everyday mode. Here's the moment to watch for with the hybrid trip. It's usually the first morning you wake up and realise there's nowhere you have to be. If that feels relaxing to you, that's a good sign. If it makes you uneasy or restless, that's not failure, that's insight. This style answers the question, can I move beyond vacation travel without feeling bored? The third style is the 2-week living local test. This one's for people who want clarity, not comfort. There's no tourist warm-up here. You arrive, you settle in, and you live as locally as you reasonably can for the full 2 weeks. One base, no bouncing around, no pressure to make every day exciting. You wake up without a plan, you work out how you actually like to spend your days. You notice how often you really want to go out. What 2 weeks does beautifully is let the novelty wear off. You move past the excitement and touch on normal life. Here's the moment to watch for with this style. Maybe around day 8 or 9, you'll have a very ordinary day. Nothing special happens. If you're comfortable with that, local living might suit you. If you start questioning why you're even there, that's important information too. This style answers the question, do I genuinely enjoy this, or do I just like the idea of it? The fourth style is 4 weeks of local life. This is the most revealing option, especially if retirement's close. With 4 weeks, you stop feeling like a visitor. You fall into weekly rhythms. You notice how your body and your energy hold up. You see what actually costs money and what doesn't have to. You also learn things you simply can't learn in 2 weeks. How you handle boredom and routine. How that routine feels over time. Whether travel still excites you once it becomes ordinary. Here's the moment to watch for with a full 4 weeks. It's when a week goes by and you don't really notice. If that feels comforting, you're probably well suited to long stays. If it feels like time wasted, that's not a problem. It just means variety might matter more to you. This style answers the big question, is this a lifestyle I want or just something I enjoy in short bursts? So, which style fits you right now? If you love travel but hate rushing, slowish travel's a great place to start. If you're curious about everyday life on the road, the hybrid trip eases you in. If you want real clarity, the local living options give you answers. None of these are better than the others. They're just different tools for different stages of your journey. A quick word on destination choice. Your first test trip should be in a location that looks and feels easy. Walkable, good public transport, affordable food, somewhere that works for everyday life, not just for sightseeing. Avoid complex routes, constant city hopping and once-in-a-lifetime destinations. You're testing how you live, not how well you sprint. The biggest mistake people make is trying to make the trip worth it. Over-planning, over-moving, overdoing, and pretty soon they're just over it. A good test trip often feels quieter than expected, sometimes even a bit boring compared to your previous vacations. That's not failure, that's useful information. A successful test trip doesn't always feel exciting. It often feels normal. And that's exactly what you're testing. If travel only works when every day feels special, that's incredibly useless information to learn early. This isn't about committing to a future, it's about gathering evidence. The goal of your first test trip, and even your second, isn't to get everything right, it's to make the next one closer to your ideal retirement travel style. Because learning what doesn't suit you now is a lot cheaper and a lot less stressful than learning it once retirement's already begun. Anyway, that's enough from me. I've got some planning to do for our next test trip to Vietnam.